continuing here on Mackie and Judd, and I'm gonna do something unprecedented. I'm gonna read you a quote.
Okay.
And then I want your statement, Judd, off of this quote, and then we can take statements anywhere we want to go after that.
Okay.
This is from PJ Fleck after taking the axe in consecutive years for the first time in like 30 years. It's been like 1993 or something was the last time.
93, 94, I believe.
It's the last time the Gophers had the axe in back-to-back years.
Jim Wacker.
That's right.
But the Badgers were just starting to get good and weren't really good yet, I don't think. So,
and then they moved into Rose Bowl territory.
Yes.
This was also probably one of the 2 or 3 worst Badgers teams this year. They fired their coach, and then they hired Luke Fickell, Luke Fickell's been in the mix for some big jobs. So that's a big hire. But here's the quote. I still remember people, Heather and I, every time they'd see us, just beat Wisconsin and you can stay forever. Well, we've beaten Wisconsin twice, and you all wanted me fired last week. That's how that goes. Talking to the media after the win.
Right. My statement is this. Give me a bleeping break. What? More than angering me, this disappointed me a lot. Because, one, fans were upset that you lost to the Hawkeyes. And by the way, your game plan against the Badgers was exactly what it should have been against the Hawkeyes.
Yeah.
Second of all, you are coming off what I consider to be, and this is not hyperbole because my expectations are often very, very low, one of the Gopher seasons in which I had the highest of hopes. Your schedule was conducive to winning. You didn't have Ohio State, who you have next season. You didn't have Michigan, who you have next year.
Nor did you have a good Wisconsin team or a good Iowa team.
Good Iowa team, exactly. So now you had an opportunity. If you were ever going to win the Big Ten West, Purdue won it. If you were ever going to win the Big Ten West and actually do it in a way that would give you a fighting chance to, yes, probably get blown out or lose now to Michigan in the Big Ten championship game, it would give you a fighting chance if you had done this right to go to the Rose Bowl. And I've always said this. I don't care. It does not have to be part of the national championship picture. A Rose Bowl for this program would be enormous. Northwestern has gone. Wisconsin had made it a regular thing, and at one point they were as bad or worse than you years back. And so for PJ to play the woe is me Jerry Kill card, I mean, Jerry Kill played this card way too much.
I guess maybe I'm just not a very good coach.
Yeah,
maybe I should just quit. I'm just not that good of a coach. Y'all think I'm not a good coach.
That was a response to a Chris Long question. Chris Long, one of the nicest guys, actually just asked about an in-game thing, and Kill went to that BS card. And for PJ now to pull out you all wanted me fired. First of all, no one in the media in this town that I saw called for your job. Just because some fans did.
Correct.
And because you and your wife read Twitter. Dude, people hate me sometimes. Guess what I do? I think it's hilariously funny. This to me was a real, as far as my respect here or my feelings about Fleck, a real step backward, because if anything, here's what I wanted to hear. Hey, we got the axe back. It's great. Did this season live up to our expectations? Absolutely not. It ends, at least in the Big Ten, on a high note. But we could have done more. That's what he should have said, not this garbage.
I started a brawl on Twitter when I was
shocked by
I think on a plane yesterday coming to Minneapolis. Because the Gophers, maybe it might have been the day before, because the Gophers official account on Twitter, @Gopher Sports, found a screenshot of the College Game Day crew's picks for the game. And Desmond Howard was the only team that picked the Gophers. So A.J. Hawk, Pat McAfee, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit all picked the Badgers. So they found a screenshot of like Badger. And after the Gophers won the game, they tweeted "you up" to the College Game Day. Well, it's a harmless whatever. They're just having fun and stuff. And I merely tweeted, "Nice win over the Badgers, not the season to get cocky." Mm-hmm. And I elaborated by saying that this was a nice win over the Badgers. Definitely celebrate beating the Badgers in back-to-back seasons. It's also this is a train wreck Badgers team. that just fired their coach. They can't really move the ball offensively. It's not a good Badgers team. So it's not like you're dunking on a 10th ranked Wisconsin team here on the road with the division on the line or something. It's like whatever. Like these are two teams that underachieved. They weren't playing for anything other than the Axe, and this season has been, I think, for all the reasons we've said, this has been one of the most disappointing seasons relative to expectations that I can remember in the last 25 years. There's been a couple train wrecks in there. I'm not saying it's the most disappointing season, but when you account for the schedule opportunity, having a 6th-year quarterback at the helm, having one of the best running backs in college football, a solid offensive line, a good defense, no Michigan, no Ohio State, barely Wisconsin, barely Iowa, right? Mm-hmm. And you lose 4 games and you're not even playing for your division in the final 2 weeks of the season. I think it's a disappointment. And I think it's fair to say both things. That yes, it's nice for recruiting purposes, it's nice for bragging purposes to have the Axe. And overwhelmingly, the feedback I got was just let us celebrate this. Like, you can celebrate all you want. I'm saying don't get cocky and like start chirping game day because, you know, how dare they doubt the Gophers? The Gophers dug their own grave on this. And so as I was processing PJ's comments about, well, you all wanted me fired last week. You know, he's basically saying, what do you want from me? I'm beating Wisconsin every year now. What do you want from me? Well, I went back 6 seasons ago, and I found what PJ Fleck had said. I was in the room for this, sitting in the second row as he was, you know, giving his 45-minute introductory speech to boosters and to the media and to players and everything inside TCF Bank Stadium at the time. So this is in 2017, on the day he was introduced, and PJ said, quote, "People ask me all the time, why Minnesota? Because we both share a vision of winning a national championship. We share a vision of winning the Big Ten West. We share the vision of winning Big Ten championships and Rose Bowls." So my next statement is, we're only holding PJ to the standard that he set himself 6 seasons ago. He's the one that came in and started throwing around national championship, Big Ten West, Big Ten titles, and Rose Bowls. 4 things that he threw out. And I am not calling for his head. I want to be clear here. That's another statement. I, Phil Mackey, am not calling for PJ Fleck's head. There is room between calling for someone's head and being an unapologetic homer that never, ever criticizes the team. I am living in that space right now, or I don't want him fired. He has done a better job than pretty much any Gophers head coach since Murray Warmath 60 years ago. But he deserves to be criticized for this season, and he should have thicker skin than what he said after the game. When you step up there in 2017 and say national championships, Big Ten West titles, Big Ten titles, and Rose Bowls, and you haven't done any of those things in 6 years, again, I don't think you should be fired. I think they should get him another contract extension. But you can't throw that stuff around and set that bar and then not have it come back around for some accountability at some point. He's also like, if you trust, like 247.com, for instance, recruiting rankings, his average recruiting class ranks 10th in the Big Ten over the last 4 years. So recruiting has not been amazing for him either. There's some things to poke at here.
To go to the woe is me card after that game in this season is an indication of just how not grounded in reality PJ Fleck is. And that's my problem with it. You know as well as I do, and everyone knows. And by the way, nobody wants you fired because it's now my opinion that I don't think you're going to improve there. I don't think that
he's doing fine.
Yeah,
he's doing fine.
But I mean, back when he came here, you know what? Luke Fickell was not going to look at this job and be like, oh, I'm on my way. He was waiting for a bigger job, okay? PJ Fleck is doing fine. I think PJ Fleck might be doing as well as you can possibly do. Like, there was a time where I thought, oh man, they could win this or that. I'm not so convinced now. But for him to say what he said and to not give a nod to, yeah, you know what? I could have done a better job too. I mean, we're getting a tutorial for this year, at least. It might change. Who knows? Because he has not faced adversity yet, truly. We are getting a tutorial from a young coach in Kevin O'Connell, aren't we? In how to handle things. He does a marvelous job too, and he doesn't overdo it. And this is where Fleck probably now more and more loses people. Kevin O'Connell does a marvelous job of not being a martyr, but a lot of times saying, I need to improve too, you guys. You know what? But he does it in a way where you're like, okay, cool. That's not too much. It's not like you're trying to purposely fall on the sword continually. What you're saying is you can improve. PJ Fleck, make no mistake, is an atrocious game coach. He is awful. He is terrible. He is beyond bad. He is he's fireable as far as a game coach goes, but
those are statements. Those are statements.
He runs the program, and again, I'm not calling for his job, but I am saying that there are so many things where he could have gotten up to that podium and said, "Great win, really proud, Axe stays home," and you know what? It wasn't the season that we expected, and I'm part of the problem there. So you just really lose me with this college football coaching crap that I think we were subjected to.
Yeah. One more thing to note here, too. I think part of the reason because another thing that I keep hearing is, well, what do you want? Like it's a program that's done nothing in 60 years. They won 8 games and they're going to maybe win a 9th game in a bowl game. Like they're not Alabama. Totally agree.
Yep.
Totally agree. But I think generally speaking, this is an 8 to 9 win program. But much like they did in 2019, if there's a soft schedule where you don't have to play Ohio State or Michigan or maybe Iowa or Wisconsin is down or something, and you can take advantage of the soft spot that season in a schedule, then go win 10 or 11 games. And they did in 2019. And I think again, no one's saying burn it down, but I think to say, this is kind of disappointing. They had a really soft schedule this year. And they lost a couple of games. No one was saying they were going to run the table, but this was a 10-win season waiting to happen. And this was the year of all years where you could win the Big Ten West and then go take your shellacking if that's what happens against Michigan and maybe fall into a nice New Year's Day bowl game. And now you look ahead and say, okay, well, next year we'll go get him next year, right? We got the mobile quarterback that just threw for 300 yards. It'll be great. Well, part of the problem here going forward is your schedule next year is brutal.
Yeah.
Michigan and Ohio State come back on the schedule. Iowa and Wisconsin are likely going to be better, in part because Wisconsin just hired Luke Fickell. The first game of the season's against Nebraska. They just hired Matt Rule. Laugh all you want about Matt Rule as the Carolina coach in the NFL. Matt Rule at Baylor turned a sanctioned, shackled program into, I think, a Sugar Bowl team, an 11-win team within 3 years. Just bam. And Nebraska, I'm not saying he's going to win 11 games at Nebraska next year, but that's tough. You play at North Carolina, a Mac Jones coached 9-win North Carolina team going to a bowl game to win 10. So you have a tough schedule. And then guess what happens in 2024? USC and UCLA join the conference. So
and I think
this is kind of the year, and that's why people are a little bit pissed.
And if I'm not mistaken, in 2 years, the conference is probably going to combine back together. So the West is going to be
West, and it'll just
so
be
it's
all
going to
one.
be everybody in the top 2 teams will go to the conference championship game. Yes.
Or what if they just formed 2 ambiguously named divisions? Like call one of them the leaders and the other one the legends or something. Could do something like that.
Oh, I love that idea.
No, okay. No. Anyways, all right. I just had to
get that
off our chest there.
It's good conversation.
I understand.
So.
All right, I'll give you a statement from that Wolves debacle that I sat through. Luckily, my buddy has season tickets, so I was the +1, so I did not buy a ticket to that shellacking. I was just being a good friend, went with them. But what I have noticed is Rudy Gobert has Troy Williamson hands. Rudy Gobert has awful, for as a big and of a mammoth man as that guy is, he's got the softest hands I have ever seen, dude. He's getting
he has hard hands.
Yeah. Well,
soft hands would be like Chris Carter hands.
I wish he had soft hands. His hands are awful. He can't grip the ball. He gets swatted away. And there's so many instances, too, and I've now seen 2 Wolves games in person this season. I don't know why Rudy just does not go up for dunks more. I don't know why the dude is always looking for an underneath or looking for a layup behind. Like, Rudy, you are the tallest guy on the court by far. But his hands are awful, and it's preventing him from being effective offensively, dude. His hands are brutal. Watching it in person, it's even extra bad.
Yeah, it was a thing in Utah. He's not What's tough is you get into these pick and roll situations and there's traffic. So if he's the roll man going to the hoop, and this will happen where like Anthony Edwards or D'Angelo Russell will give him a bounce pass or pass in traffic, and he's not the most reliable at catching those passes. And I think Austin Rivers, I think, was quoted after the game last night. I'm paraphrasing here, but say if we're going to run that big lineup out there, which we are, we need to play big. We're not like going up with authority. We're not dominating on the boards. They're just kind of they're big in size, but they don't use their bigness to impose on opposing teams yet. They're also moving just a half step slow systematically. It feels like you watch the Warriors and the Suns and some of these established teams that have chemistry, and it's like everything is crisp, bang, bang, bang. And the Wolves are still kind of looking at each other a little sideways when they're moving the ball around, and I don't know if I trust Rudy's hands, or I don't know if this is the right place to be.
There was a play where Rudy got stripped underneath the basket, I think like late in the fourth or third quarter yesterday, and Draymond Green is just sitting there laughing at him. Like just right next to him, also not getting back in transition, just like in awe of what just took place. Like that was embarrassing. And of course it comes from Draymond, but yeah, people are noticing, dude. It's been a little brutal. It's been ugly.
Yeah, man. We have a Flagrant Howls episode coming out, and Kyle and I are gonna break some of this down. They looked so good during the 5-game win streak, and they peaked the way they played against the Pacers middle of last week. It's like a Wednesday game before Thanksgiving.
Cat was great, right?
Yep. Oh my God, the whole starting lineup was incredible. They were playing with pace, and that's a no joke Pacers team. They're not like a championship contender, but
It's a good Pacers
that's
team.
a really good team that also had I think it was 4 or 5 wins in a row going in. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where that goes. It's like, you guys, how do you play that way? And then, okay, now it's time to go to Charlotte, which is one of the 3 or 4 worst teams in the NBA, and they have injury problems. And you just mail it in for 2 hours. There's another weird vibe thing. I'll give you a statement off this, okay? All right, Austin Rivers. I found one of these quotes here. So he was asked about, this is from Dane Moore, when asked how the Wolves can add more physicality to their identity. And he said, lead by example, pick up full court, getting on guys. I've got to start talking more. I'm going to start getting on guys. If I see someone not guarding hard, or if I see a bleep up, I'm going to hold guys accountable and ask them to hold me accountable. He's talking about like the team needs someone to hold each other accountable. Yep. And my statement is, this is a huge indictment on Towns, Gobert, and D'Lo. So those are the 3 highest paid leaders of the team. Those are the guys that it should be your culture, especially Towns and D'Lo. This has been your team for 4 seasons now. Why does Austin Rivers have to come in here and survey the field after 20 games, being a total outsider? And I get that he has probably the most veteran experience of anyone on the team, but like, why is he coming in and after 20 games being like, oh, someone needs to hold these guys accountable? Why is that not Towns? Why is that not D'Lo?
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many times have we heard that veteran guys who are role players now are the guys who are like, I got to say more, I got to do more. It's ridiculous.
Pat Bev, yeah. Austin Rivers, Taurean Prince.
Taurean Prince.
He's the one leading film sessions behind the scenes, and yeah, it's
these Wolves are the Parisi and Suter Wild to a T, which is the Gobert thing looks good. In theory it should work, and in theory it looks good, but there is no question this team is a mess off the court, and it translates onto the floor. And that game in Charlotte on Friday was so indicative of a team that is messed up. And it's flat out, I think, a chemistry problem, but not just a chemistry of playing problem, Phil. I think it's a chemistry problem of that locker room. Something is very wrong. Because why are all of these guys who are veteran role players saying, I have to lead? No, you don't. That's not your job.
Well, but they need to. If there's a gap, then that now it is Austin Rivers' job.
But ordinarily they would try and empower Towns. They would try to be, your key players. What these guys are saying, this is a very creative, backhanded way of saying our key players aren't providing any guidance at all.
Yeah. By the way, Chris Finch was asked about the Wolves' identity so far, and it's not a total train wreck. They are 10-10. They did win like 4 games in a row, and they've had some peak moments. But he said, "quote Our identity right now is super inconsistent, very Jekyll and Hyde. We are not as physical or as tough as I'd like us to be." You know, you bring in and Gobert. It's funny because Gobert, he profiles as a guy that you would think is physical and tough because he's a rebounder, shot blocker, defensive guy. But he's kind of he's finesse at those things. He's certainly not a get in your face personality. He's not like a don't mess with him in the lane type of a guy. And sometimes I think he's deferential when it comes to rebounds and shot blocks, where there's been plenty of times just in the last 3 or 4 games where a guard will get into the paint and it's like, all right, well, good luck. And he just goes up around Rudy for a layup. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, that's your shot to block. Why are you not blocking that shot or contesting that shot? It's weird.
I'm going to give you 2 P words that describe this team perfectly.
Oh God, you don't get us fired here.
2 words that begin with the letter P.
Don't
that
do it.
Describe this team perfectly. Passive and petulant.
Oh,
they are passive
say a different P word.
No, I don't know what you thought I was going to say. Prima donnas, perhaps?
FPs.
Oh,
they're FPs, is what you're saying.
They are passive and petulant. Because I don't think Gobert is petulant. I think Towns and D'Lo are definitely petulant at times. And I do think that Gobert and Towns and D'Lo can be incredibly passive. You don't win in professional sports if those 2 P's are haunting your team.
Yeah. I've got 3 words for you. Spiral, light, candles.
Oh, I love to hear that. So again, Sports Dad is here for gift ideas because Sports Dad knows at the tender age of 53 that, guys, we panic. December 1st hits and we panic because we say, oh my God, Christmas is coming. I don't have time to go shopping. What does my wife, my girlfriend, my mom, what do they even want? It's so difficult. And so you're jumbled up in what to get. I'm going to help you right now. Spiral Light Candles, spirallightcandles.com. 2 boxes showed up at the Zolgad doorstep on Saturday. The wife called and said, bring them inside. She got home from work. Oh, she was so excited because this box is full of Spiral Light Candles. These things smell good. They're incredibly cool. They are the perfect gift. They're not expensive. They are very reasonable. And right now, Spiral Light has Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals that are in progress. So check them out. Make them gifts for Christmas, the holidays. SpiralLightCandles.com. It's where your shopping starts. And your mom, wife, girlfriend say, this is a perfect gift. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anything else from you guys? Any other statements here to wrap this Monday Statements episode?
I'm good.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay.
I got one. My statement is this. Sometimes there's reason that go beyond the on-the-floor or ice product to bring guys in. Ryan Reaves was traded for, and yes, he is a fighter, and he doesn't skate great, but the Wild traded for him last week, and he wasn't playing much for the Rangers, but Bill Guerin accurately said, our team needs more swagger. What do the Wolves lack? They lack fun and swagger. They're sort of
they need Ryan Reaves. I mean,
yeah, they do.
Pardon my French. They're a dead ass. And Bill Guerin team and said, you know what? Our team has the same problem. And am I breaking up again?
Yes.
Yes, it's 11 a.m. and you break up at 11 a.m. for like the last month. I don't know.
Okay, I'm done then. Good job, Bill Guerin. Nice trade. I like Ryan Reaves.
It's weird. Judd literally has like 5 minutes of internet gremlins at 11 a.m. not every day, but like sometimes.
Is Xfinity doing something like resetting?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think we get the general gist. The Wolves are FPs who need some more toughness. Passive. They could use the basketball version of Ryan Reaves, which I guess Pat Beverly was that.
Pat Bev. Yeah, it's literally Pat Bev.
Just trade for him again, bring him back, fix this whole thing.
Good point.
All right, that's Mackie and Judd here on this Monday. Be sure to check out Vikings Vent Line every single postgame Sunday against the Jets on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, the most fan-friendly interactive show in all of Minnesota sports. We basically just turn the show over to you guys for 90 minutes. So check that out. And please click subscribe on both the SKOR North and the Purple Daily YouTube channels. Thanks for getting us over 50,000 combined subscribers over the last few weeks or so. We'll see you guys tomorrow.